Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you went in there? Or maybe you've opened the fridge, stared at the contents, and suddenly couldn't remember what you were looking for? It happens to all of us once in a while. But when these moments become more frequent, it's only natural to wonder, is this just aging, or is something more serious going on? Hi, I'm glad you're here today, because what we're about to talk about might surprise you. If you're over 70 and you've been feeling a bit more forgetful lately, the culprit might not be your age, but your diet. Yes, really. Certain foods that seem harmless or even healthy could actually be slowly damaging your brain day by day. These are foods we often eat without thinking twice. They've become part of our routine, our comfort, maybe even our childhood memories. But recent studies have shown that for older adults, some of these everyday items can silently worsen cognitive decline, leading to memory loss, confusion, and even early signs of dementia. Now, I'm not here to scare you. My goal is to help you make small, simple changes that can protect your mind and keep you sharp for years to come. Because the truth is, once you remove these memory-draining foods, your brain starts to respond. Many people report feeling more clear-headed, more focused, and even more energized, sometimes within just a few weeks. In this video, we're going to gently uncover 5 foods that could be silently harming your brain after 70. I'll also share real-life stories of seniors who made small dietary changes and saw big improvements in their memory and focus. And don't worry, we won't just talk about what to avoid. I'll also give you suggestions for brain-friendly alternatives that still taste great and keep you feeling satisfied. But before we get into that, let me tell you about someone I met a few years ago. His name is Robert. Robert is 76, and when he first came to one of our community health talks, he looked like someone who had it all together. He was friendly, well-dressed, always made eye contact. But during our first conversation, I noticed something. He kept forgetting words, simple ones like keys or breakfast. He'd start a sentence, then stop halfway through and chuckle nervously, saying, "What was I just saying again?" At first, he laughed it off. "Just getting old," he said. But as we talked more, I could see the worry behind his smile. "I used to be sharp," he told me. "I was a school principal for over 30 years. I never forgot anything. Now I feel like my mind's slipping away." That's when we started looking at his diet. And what we found shocked him. And honestly, it shocked me too. Because Robert wasn't eating junk food or drinking soda every day. He thought he was doing everything right. But hidden in his daily meals were a few common ingredients that were quietly working against his brain. After a few adjustments, and just 3 weeks later, Robert called me. "It's like the fog lifted," he said. "I still forget things once in a while, but I can actually finish a conversation now. I feel more like myself again." And that's what I want for you too. So if you've been feeling more forgetful, more foggy, or just not quite yourself lately, stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll know which foods to look out for, what to replace them with, and how to give your brain the support it needs to stay sharp after 70. Let's get started. Let's go back to Robert for a moment. One of the first things we looked at in his daily meals was breakfast. Like many people his age, he liked to keep things simple in the morning. A couple slices of white toast, a little butter, maybe some jam, and a cup of coffee with sugar. It sounded harmless enough. But what he didn't realize was that one of the worst things for brain health was sitting right there on his plate every day. Refined carbohydrates. White bread, sugary spreads, processed breakfast cereals, all of these break down into glucose very quickly in the body, causing sharp spikes and crashes in blood sugar. And while that might not sound like a big deal, Your brain is extremely sensitive to those fluctuations. Over time, these sugar highs and lows can lead to what researchers call brain fog, that sluggish, forgetful feeling that's all too familiar to many older adults. And even more concerning, studies have linked long-term consumption of refined carbs to a higher risk of cognitive decline and even Alzheimer's disease. When I explained this to Robert, he looked down at the half-eaten sandwich in his hand and laughed. "So you're telling me this innocent little thing is making me forget where I left my glasses?" I nodded. "It might be." He replaced his white toast with whole grain bread, swapped the sugary jam for sliced avocado or a boiled egg, and started sweetening his coffee with cinnamon instead of sugar. It wasn't a huge change, but it made a huge difference. Another surprising food that kept popping up in conversations with my older patients: processed meats. Things like bacon, sausage, ham, deli cold cuts, even the ones labeled lean or low-fat, are often packed with nitrates, preservatives, and excess sodium. These chemicals have been shown to cause inflammation throughout the body, including the brain. Now, inflammation isn't always a bad thing. It's part of how your body protects itself. But when it becomes chronic, when your brain is under low-level attack every day from what you eat, it can start to damage the neurons responsible for memory, learning, and focus. I remember a woman named Janice, 81 years old, who loved making sandwiches for lunch. 2 slices of white bread, a few slices of turkey or ham, a little mayo, and she was good to go. But she'd been feeling more forgetful, even leaving the stove on once or twice, and it was starting to scare her. We made one simple switch. She began using fresh grilled chicken instead of cold cuts. Within a month, her energy was better, and she told me she hadn't lost her keys once. It sounds small, but it mattered to her. Now, let's talk about something most people wouldn't even consider a bad food: margarine. Yes, margarine. It was once advertised as a heart-healthy alternative to butter, but many types are loaded with trans fats, which are terrible for brain health. Even small amounts of trans fat have been linked to reduced memory and slower cognitive processing. In fact, one long-term study found that people with higher levels of trans fats in their blood were more than twice as likely to develop dementia over a 10-year period. Think about that. Twice the risk, from something as simple as a spread on your toast. If you're using margarine or any product that contains partially hydrogenated oils on the label, it's time to throw it out. Switch to real butter, or better yet, try olive oil or avocado oil. Your brain will thank you. I know these foods might feel like old friends. You've eaten them for years, maybe decades, and nobody wants to be told their habits are hurting them, especially when those habits bring comfort. But what if the very foods you rely on for comfort are quietly stealing your clarity, your independence, even your memories? I'm not here to tell you to cut out everything you enjoy. I'm just here to shine a light on the things that could be doing harm without you realizing it. Because once you see the pattern, you can make better choices, starting today. And you don't have to do it alone. I'll walk with you. Coming up next, we'll talk about 2 more foods, one that seems healthy but isn't, and another that might be hiding in your kitchen right now. Stay with me, because this last part might surprise you the most. There's another food I've seen time and time again quietly take its toll on memory, especially in people over 70, and that's sugar-laden yogurts and healthy snacks. It might sound strange at first. Yogurt has calcium, probiotics. It's supposed to be good for you, right? But not all yogurts are created equal. The kind that comes in colorful packages with fruity flavors often contains more sugar than a candy bar. And that sugar doesn't just go to your waistline, it goes straight to your brain. I remember working with a patient, Mrs. Fields, a lovely 76-year-old woman who came to me feeling foggy and forgetful. She told me she had a healthy routine: fruit yogurts for breakfast, granola bars mid-morning, and a light lunch. But when we looked closer, almost everything she ate was filled with hidden sugars. And once we started making simple swaps, plain Greek yogurt with fresh fruit, homemade trail mix instead of packaged bars, something amazing happened. Within 3 weeks, her energy returned. Her sleep improved. And she said to me, "For the first time in months, I didn't forget where I left my keys." That's the power of food. Because what you eat doesn't just feed your body, it fuels your mind. And sometimes, what seems harmless can quietly accelerate cognitive aging when consumed daily. And speaking of everyday foods that look innocent but aren't, let's talk about vegetable oils. Now, I know this one might be surprising. For decades, we were told to avoid butter and stick to vegetable oils like corn oil, soybean oil, or canola. But modern research is starting to tell a different story. These oils, when heavily refined and used for frying, create harmful compounds that promote inflammation in the brain. That means slower thinking, reduced mental clarity, and over time, a higher risk of dementia. I've met many seniors who used these oils daily without realizing the long-term impact. One gentleman, 80 years old and still sharp, told me he made a small switch to olive oil after seeing a similar video. "I didn't expect much," he said, "but I sleep better, and my thoughts come easier." Little shifts, big outcomes. So if you're still cooking with vegetable oils, it might be time to reach for olive oil, avocado oil, or even a bit of real butter, used sparingly. Because your brain deserves the best. And that brings us to the last food I want to share with you today: artificial sweeteners. You may think you're doing yourself a favor by choosing sugar-free cookies or diet sodas. But the truth is, sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose have been linked to headaches, mood swings, and yes, even memory issues in older adults. Our brains are sensitive, especially as we age. And while these chemicals might trick your tongue, they don't fool your nervous system. If you've ever felt more foggy or irritable after having a sugar-free snack, now you know why. Instead, reach for natural alternatives: a touch of honey, a slice of fruit, or simply retraining your taste buds to enjoy the subtle sweetness of real food. Because memory isn't something we should leave to chance. We have more control than we think, one bite at a time. Now that we've walked through these hidden dangers, you might be thinking, "Well, I've been eating those for years. Is it too late to change?" And here's what I want you to remember. It is never too late. The brain is a beautiful, resilient organ. Even in your 70s, 80s, or beyond, it still responds to care, to nourishment, to kindness. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. But if you can start by making one small change today, replacing that sugary yogurt, swapping out that vegetable oil, skipping the processed snacks, that's a powerful first step. I've seen it time and time again. Seniors who felt foggy, forgetful, or low on energy regain clarity, strength, and confidence just by paying a little more attention to what they put on their plate. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be aware, because every choice you make from this moment on, every meal, every grocery trip, every little adjustment, is a vote for the version of you that stays mentally sharp, independent, and full of life for years to come. You deserve that. And so do the people who love you. So, if you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what small change you're planning to make starting today. Was it cutting back on sugary snacks? Trying a new oil? Or maybe just rethinking that harmless food in your daily routine? Your story could inspire someone else. And don't forget, if you want more practical tips to protect your health and stay sharp well into your later years, be sure to like this video and subscribe. We're building a community of strong, wise, and empowered older adults who are rewriting the rules of aging together. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Take care of yourself and your memory, because you're worth it.